Next, from Springfield, State Senator Kwame Raoul discusses the goals of Governor Rauner's Criminal Justice Reform Commission, with one being to reduce Illinois' prison population by 25% over the next 10 years. This runs about 12 minutes.
Right, Senator Kwame Raoul, thank you so much for joining us here on the Illinois Channel. You are one of the members of the Criminal Justice Reform Commission, and the goal of this commission is to decrease the capacity of the state's prison system by 25% over the 10-year period, the next 10 years. Can you just elaborate more on this for us?
Yeah, I think the goals are broader than that. That is one specific goal, but we're not just about a reduction of prison population for the sake of reduction of prison population. The fact that we are over-incarcerating, the fact that we have nearly in excess of 48,000 inmates in a Department of Correction facilities designed for 32,000 is reflective of the fact that we have embraced policy historically that has enhanced penalties and that has sent people to Department of Corrections, many nonviolent offenders, for things that are better treated, that evidence from around the country demonstrates is better treated through diversion programs and through community-based programs that reduce recidivism and enhance public safety. And so part of the idea of the commission, in addition to the reduction of population and the fiscal savings that we get from that, is to improve the way we embrace policy, criminal law policy, on a day-to-day, year-to-year basis in the General Assembly, such that we don't take a step forward and then take 2 steps backwards in years to come.
Okay, and that recidivism rate, if I recall, is at about 50%. And you mentioned that we need to change the policies here in Illinois. What do you think exactly that are some of the things the legislator can do?
Well, I mean, already we've embraced a program. I introduced a bill several years ago called Redeploy Illinois to incent local municipalities to come up with community-based programs that nonviolent offenders can be diverted to, and to whether they have a substance abuse problem or that they can be engaged in employment training, education programs at a community-based level to make certain that they don't reoffend. So the governor has indicated that he wants to invest more in Redeploy Illinois. Now that said, we have to make sure that as we approach a fiscal year 16 budget, that we also don't embrace the types of cuts that have been proposed to the Department of Human Services for things like substance abuse, dollars for people with developmental disabilities and things of that nature. In addition, it's important that we look at the use of appropriate risk assessment tools to make sure that we're reserving prison space for people who are a risk to a threat to public safety. It's important to look at our parole processes when we have offenders who've been committed to Department of Correction for certain crimes, whether it's appropriate to have them on parole at all or on parole for extended periods of time where they are recommitted for technical violations. We have to look very careful at the type of technical violations that might have somebody recommitted or arrested and put in the county jail. We have to look at the bond practices on the local level and examine why we are incarcerating people for terms longer than their actual sentence end up being for. That doesn't make any sense, simply because they're too poor to post bond when they're not really a threat to public safety. It absolutely doesn't make sense. It costs money, and it's unjust.
Okay. And for those that may not be familiar with the Redeploy program, can you just describe what that is? Is it a probation program or?
Well, redeploy is where grants are given to local municipalities for diversion programs, so that in lieu of referring people to offenders to the Department of Correction for certain crimes, local municipalities can set up programs that are appropriate for the particular offender to address the roots of the behavior that caused them to offend, and to prevent them from offending in the future.
Okay. And, Governor Rauner has made cuts to mental and health services, and our prisons, a lot of source of violence can be from people that are suffering from mental health. Are you concerned with this? What is your opinion on that?
Yes, obviously, I'm very concerned. If you look at us in Cook County, for example, a significant a significant portion of the population in Cook County Jail are there because they've got mental health challenges. I appreciate that the governor was put in a difficult situation, having to put forth a budget, and the law requires that he put forth a budget proposal restricted to the revenue and the available funds for projected revenue for fiscal year 16. That said, I think it's important to talk about our priorities, and you hear a lot about, well, we got to make sure we just live within our means. We also have to make sure that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing as a state government, and we have to make sure we have the resources to do what the citizens of Illinois expect us to do as a state government. And I think addressing some of those concerns in the interest of public safety and also in the interest of humanity are very important.
Recently, just a few days ago, Cook County lessened or decreased the penalties for those that are carrying marijuana, like if it's, their first or second offense. What do you think about this?
Well, what you're referring to is that the Cook County State's Attorney declared that she was not going to prosecute certain cases. That doesn't mean that the penalties have been decreased. The law still is what the law is. That's just a statement of what her prosecutorial discretion is going to be. So we still need to address some of those issues, and there are certain bills that have been filed to do just that. There's a decriminalization of certain amounts of marijuana. There's a proposal that my Senate Restorative Justice Committee entertained with regards to reducing the class of certain possession penalties for small amounts of controlled substance to misdemeanor offense instead of a felony offense, because you're criminalizing, you're turning into felons people who just have a substance abuse problem.
Okay, Senator Raoul, tell us what's next for the commission, Criminal Justice Commission. What are the next steps?
Well, we're going to we'll meet this weekend, and we're going to entertain testimony from the public at large. We've got a real diverse commission, and we've met once so far, and we've had a good conversation about what we can do comprehensively to meet the goals set out by the governor, but also just, again, make sure that we're approaching criminal justice in a just manner.
And I think the Senate just passed one of your bills. What bill was that?
That was a juvenile justice reform bill to make sure that it costs $111,000 per year per minor committed to the Department of Juvenile Justice. Yet we're referring minors who commit misdemeanors to the Department of Juvenile Justice. We don't send adults who commit misdemeanors to the Department of Corrections. So it's baffling that we send minors to the Department of Juvenile Justice for things that we wouldn't send adults to the Department of Corrections for. There are also other areas where minors are being sent to DJJ, the Department of Juvenile Justice, for things that if they were adults they wouldn't be sent to the Department of Corrections for. We want to make sure that the right hand is talking to the left hand, that the courts are providing the Department of Juvenile Justice with the appropriate information about the minor, such that the Department of Juvenile Justice can do the best job at addressing and restoring the minor to appropriate development so they can develop into a citizen that contributes to society.
Right, so they can have a real chance at, opportunities.
Correct.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I think it is real healthy that the tone has changed from the time that I initially came into the General Assembly. I've been here 10 years. I've been trying to push this type of agenda the whole time that I've been here, and it's met some obstacles from people who were afraid of being perceived as soft on crime. Now there's a bipartisan effort, and there's less fear by people who want to be committed to reforming criminal justice, and that's healthy. And at the same token, we have to be cautious about individual legislators who come with bills that may be responsive to an isolated incident within their respective district, or individual legislators who want to send a newsletter home saying that they're tough on crime, and they bastardize our criminal code and maybe erase some of the work that we do within the Criminal Justice Reform Commission.
Okay, thank you so much for your time, Senator Kwame Raoul.
Thank you.
Thank you.